Did you ever wonder what would happen if Gojo decided to unleash his full power in Shibuya? Will the special grade curses even have a shot, or will he just annihilate them right then and there? My initial take on this was that if Gojo did go all out from the get-go, then the poor cursed spirits might need to sign up for therapy just to deal with the trauma they will experience. But funny thoughts aside, how's any of this gonna happen in the first place? In the actual story, the antagonist, Kenjaku, carefully plans to seal Satoru Gojo by using and possessing his friend Suguru Geto to trap his strength, locking him up to get Gojo out of the picture. Gojo was trapped in between civilians and kept his rule unbroken, not to kill a single civilian. Kenjaku's smart plan made sure that Gojo would not accidentally hurt civilians and would not react quickly. He knew that Gojo could unleash his unstoppable full potential only when he was alone, so the presence of civilians would hinder Gojo from going all out. Gojo's maximum techniques are so intense that a mere touch could instantly end any non-sorcerer's life. But that wasn't it. In addition to stopping his techniques, this method also proved Gojo's domain expansion ineffective. By including a large number of civilians would pose a risk of harm to everyone from the outside curtain. As a result, Gojo would have to stay in the defensive position, restricting him from utilizing his techniques to the maximum potential. So what was their plan? To start with, Kenjaku's team was tasked to kill as much time as possible, giving him 20 minutes so he could take control of the prison realm. Despite the constraints imposed on Gojo due to the civilian presence, he cleverly manipulated his infinity, engaging in close combat and eventually defeating Hanami. Gojo realized that sacrifices would be made to defeat Gojo and Choso, but Mahito's timely arrival with transfigured humans threw chaos into the mix. So did the plan work out? Well, with increasing civilian involvement, Gojo had to forcefully hold back his strong moves like blue, red, and purple. He had to resort to using his domain expansion, Unlimited Void, for a mere 0.2 seconds. He made it especially short to avoid hurting or doing any life-threatening damage to people. Unfortunately, even with all the care, the civilians still went unconscious due to information overload from the Unlimited Void. Gojo stuck to his rule and did not hurt anyone, which led him to be sealed, as he was surprised at the sight of Geto controlled by Kenjaku. However, as 20 minutes passed, Satoru Gojo found himself sealed within the prison realm. Kenjaku explained that to achieve this, Gojo needed to stay within a 4-meter radius of the cube for 1 minute, emphasizing that it is 1 minute inside Gojo's unique perception of time. Gojo has the ability to manipulate time, and it allows him to slow things down, making 2 seconds in the real world seem like 2 minutes in his mind, which is why this exceptional sense of battle intellect makes Gojo immensely powerful. Kenjaku, appearing by using Geto's body, managed to be within reach of the activated prison realm for only about 1 second, highlighting Gojo's overwhelming power. Kenjaku's sealing of Gojo brought about significant casualties and deaths, with major characters like Nobara, Nanami, Naobito, and ultimately President Yaga as well. How did all of these deaths unfold? Starting with Nobara, her unfortunate end was orchestrated by Mahito as part of a plan to capture Yuji. Immediately after Gojo's sealing, Mahito split himself into two, leading to Nobara's supposed death, a casualty that might have been avoided if Gojo remained unsealed. Similar circumstances occurred to Nanami, who was initially burned by Gojo and then ultimately killed by Mahito. The same goes for Naobito and Yaga. They would not be likely to survive. These major deaths and casualties occurred when Gojo was not present. Gojo was single-handedly holding off 4 special grade curses, the same curses that were responsible for wreaking havoc in Shibuya, causing significant casualties in the series. Therefore, if Gojo is all out there, the entire Shibuya incident arc might not happen. Gojo's absence is indeed the only reason that cursed spirits and cursed users were able to cause trouble. The entire Shibuya incident hinges on the fact that he is no longer present. Having him sealed in the Prism realm destroyed the district, as well as containing many deaths for characters, and of course the most significant character development for the main cast. But what if it did not happen? Given his status as the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer, Gojo Satoru's immense power could potentially cause massive changes and greatly impact the ongoing events in the story. This hypothetical scenario raises questions about the consequences and implications of events. Remember the time when Gojo had the chance to beat all of his enemies? Yes, he could have done it in just a snap, but there was a consequence. A bunch of innocent folks stuck with him would have also taken down in a heartbeat. Now imagine if Gojo said, "Screw it, let's go all out." Here are a few reasons why he might sacrifice the civilian safety and unleash the full force. Now, first things first. If Gojo decided to throw his rule out after noticing how those special grade curses were using and manipulating the people around him to their advantage, he might ditch the whole protect civilians idea. Instead, he'd go all in on taking down Gojo, Hanami, and Choso. even if it meant collateral damage. Anami would probably be the first to catch a hit, followed by Gojo in their showdown. The battle would keep going until Mahito rolls in at the station with his transfigured humans. And maybe if he realized that killing his old friend Geto right away, no matter what the cost, would lessen a ton of casualties and would save his allies' lives. If he does not get sealed and goes all out, the special grade curses don't get to run freely around. Now, in what unthinkable ways could Gojo use to destroy his opponents? Gojo's limitless curse technique allows him to manipulate the space at will, wherein he could reshape and control the buildings and streets into devastating weapons against his opponents, or might create a battlefield where his enemies would have no escape. His blue and red infinity would dominate the streets of Shibuya, offering a mesmerizing display of power. He would also unleash his curse technique called Six Eyes, which can predict and anticipate his opponent's moves and counter any attack thrown at him. This heightened awareness of his surroundings allows him to move faster than the eye can see. While possessing these techniques, Infinite Void is a devastating ultimate attack that allows him to create an expansive space, tapping his enemies within an impenetrable domain as he controls the time and space within it. Kenjaku, the special grade curses any sorcerer or cursed spirit, and all opponents who dare to do anything damaging would have all been easily killed by Gojo. It would not even be all that hard for him to accomplish that. So what are the outcomes we can expect here? Nobara, Yaga, Naobito, and Nanami would all still be alive. This war is going to be won by Gojo all alone. Aside from this outcome, maybe the conflict would be like this. Assuming in an alternate scenario where Satoru Gojo avoided the minute flashback inside his head triggered by the awakening of the prison realm, the battle dynamics would have shifted dramatically. Just before the prison realm was activated, Gojo unleashed his domain expansion, effortlessly taking down 1,000 transfigured humans in mere seconds. His strategy involved focusing on Gojo and Mahito, leaving Choso for last. Now, reintroducing Kenjaku into the picture. What if he again placed the prison realm before Gojo? Simply put, the cube would become futile because the current bloodlusted Gojo would easily decipher its usage and how to avoid it. This would leave Kenjaku, Mahito, Choso, and Jogo against Satoru Gojo on the battlefield. Despite Gojo leaving countless civilians unconscious with his domain expansion, it does not make them immune to being hit or attacked by other cursed spirits. The tactic of cat and mouse would still be in use, with the civilians acting as hostages to keep Gojo on edge. Kenjaku, having a plan B, might attempt to escape with the group, but Gojo being nearby would not allow them to leave easily. In hand-to-hand combat, Gojo would overpower Kenjaku, possibly causing life-threatening injuries. With other curses or opponents combining their attacks to restrain Gojo, a unique situation might arise, where 3 domain expansions could occur simultaneously as long as there are no interruptions. Jogo's, Mahito's, and Choso's domain expansion will pop off at once to save Kenjaku from Gojo's overwhelming power. Their domain expansion is extremely powerful. However, Gojo's unlimited void would overpower the domain simultaneously, locking in Mahito and Jogo. What's Gojo's plan moving ahead? First, Gojo would potentially eliminate Jogo, Choso, and maybe Mahito. However, Kenjaku, using the Uzumaki technique and unleashing all the curses, would escape with his life on the line. The prison realm was Kenjaku's only shot at success, but things did not go that way. Regardless of whether Gojo went all out or not, Kenjaku's plan would stay the same. He wanted to get Mahito and wake up ancient sorcerers just like in the series, but with Gojo around this time. And now Kenjaku, with 10 of Sukuna's fingers, would be left alone, but with a chance to plot another scheme on Gojo. Despite Gojo surviving the entrapment of the prison realm, the outcome would still leave Kenjaku with his life intact, ready to initiate another plan by relying on reviving Sukuna. In the actual situation of Shibuya Incident's 93rd chapter, Kenjaku mentioned that if the prison realm failed or Gojo managed to escape being sealed, he would resort to using Sukuna by reviving him because he believed that Sukuna had the potential to defeat Gojo. But do you think everything will proceed smoothly for Kenjaku in this timeline? The story might proceed in a very peculiar way from here, but that's it for the what if theory of if Gojo went all out in Shibuya. If you want to switch things up, why don't you check out this video of what if Sukuna was defeated by Maoraga? What are you waiting for? Click it!